What's up, everybody? Welcome to the capsule. We are back once again. Usually I say I have a special guest, but
What an intro.
today it's just Jenny.
Wow. Not special.
Everybody's a special guest who comes through the capsule, guys. Also, we're trying out these new mics. So, people at home, let us know how we sound. Do we sound beautiful?
Yeah.
Not that particular part.
Write in the comments.
What a YouTuber you've become.
I know.
Wow.
I know social media.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, what's up, everyone? We're back. And we have just a regular run-of-the-mill episode, which I don't know if people prefer these ones or the special. Like last week, we had Jade to promote the London Battle. So
True.
I don't know if you guys prefer the episodes that are centered around certain events, or you prefer just us in the crib talking shit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they serve different purposes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Because the special episodes wouldn't be special episodes if all the episodes were like that. They would
But
just
all the
be the
episodes are
episodes.
special. Everybody's special.
Don't think so.
Okay, well.
Maybe that's what your parents told you, but
Hey. I mean, everyone who comes on the capsule is special.
okay.
Anyway, hi guys, how's it going? What happened? Well, obviously the London battle happened.
Jeez.
All the footage from the battles is up on our YouTube now.
Quick.
We have, yeah, that's it. There'll be a little recap coming out that was actually the main thing that we were doing there. Massive shout out to the D-Li boys who came through on the day and helped out with the camera operating for the battles and did our socials on the day. So you might have seen them doing the takeover, but go and follow those guys if you don't already on YouTube and Instagram, because they're doing dope stuff. And yeah, they've been on the pod once, I think, but yeah, love those guys. I think what they're doing is dope. So yeah, go and show them some love if you love us.
I love what they did with the capsule stories that day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You did? I mean,
Yeah.
what in particular?
Like, I mean, I think it just shows, like it really shows the difference between like when you see that there's someone or that's dedicated to making stories and not just like sitting on the side capturing something and then posting it as a story.
She's talking about me.
No, but just in general of like
when they're trying to do something intentional with the stories.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, captured in a way that's for the stories, and then it little bits talking to people, and even the way, I don't know, you can feel it when there's someone who's dedicated to thinking about making that content, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, let's film some rounds and then we'll post some on the stories, which is also like better than
but it's still not perfect.
But it does make a difference, I think, in the quality of the content, and also even in the amount, like you really felt watching it that you kind of walk through the day.
That's good to hear. Well, if they listen to this, shout out to you guys. Yeah, it is nice to do that. We want to, we've got the mentorship open. By the way, guys, we have some, I have to say, I haven't looked at them properly, but some good applications to the Capsule Mentorship Program. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, we've got some good applications, and it's not only me that's going to be making the decision.
Damn.
So
who else?
You're going to be involved. But
this is news.
Yeah, so don't.
This is my news of the week.
Yeah, so don't. I can't do you any special favors, guys. It has to be a group process so that it's fair. But yeah, some good applications, but there's still time to get yours in if you're interested in working with the capsule and me and learning. Not only it's all going to be based around dance training, but also about media, so photography, filmmaking, content creation, podcasting, anything like that. Yeah, we've got a 6-month mentorship in collaboration with the University of East London. Jeez. And more specifically the Dance Urban Practice program there, who are really supporting us to do that mentorship. So yeah, if a university says I'm good to mentor people, you know it's real.
Damn.
So yeah, go and check out the link in the capsule bio for the mentorship thing. You have until the 16th of October, which is next Monday night. So you got a whole
Week.
a week from today, but when this comes out, less than a week. But yeah, that will be cool. Looking
Don't
forward to
leave it
that.
to the last minute.
Don't leave it to the last minute, like I do with every single application I've ever submitted. Also, the reason I say that is because hopefully, like when we have the mentees working on stuff in the future for the capsule, there'll be more intentional stories done and stuff. Because it's nice to have a team.
That's right.
So, anything else? Yeah, London Battle was cool. There's not really much to say on it. I feel like you can go watch the stuff. Overall, it was a pretty successful event. A lot of people turned out. I know from experience with these type of events that have funding behind them, it's like, I mean, half that would have still been a fairly successful turnout for an event like that, I feel.
Yeah. But I think I was really surprised about how many people participated, you know.
Yeah, like did the workshops and joined in. Yeah, it was a good crowd.
Especially, I feel like Somerset House, okay, the Strand, of course, is a street where a lot of people walk by, and it was a super nice day. But when you get a participation, you know, kind of walk in and take a dance class, especially British people tend to be a bit reserved sometimes, I feel, with participating and being like...
Yeah.
But Turbo was teaching the first class, and already he had, I think, over 20 people just come and do the class. And it
ended up with like what must have been like 60 something.
Yeah,
people.
Just I mean the
like Olu and Chloe's classes were like
packed.
That was like the third and fourth out of the four.
Yeah.
So by the time people heard about it, I think it was like really packed.
Yeah, and then I mean the whole day ran very smoothly. Big shout out to the whole production team and everybody who kind of was hands-on on deck that day. And yeah, Jade for curating and organizing and everything.
I think actually like I spoke to, there was maybe about 400, 500 people that you think came? How many would you say?
Hard to say. Also, it's like throughout the day.
Yeah, true. In and out. It might have been... No, yeah, maybe a bit more if you see who changed up. But there was during the battles, let's say, how many was there? 400, 500?
I think more than that.
Oh, wow, that's great. But I mean, I spoke to I'd say like 95% of the people all told me that it was because of the podcast that we did that they came.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of speaking that day. I spoke to maybe not the full 500, but like 300-400 people I spoke to, and I was like, well, "How come you're here?" And they were like, "There's this podcast, the Capsule Podcast, and they did about with Jade and." You know, just
incredible.
Yes, they a lot of people did say incredible actually.
Yeah. They didn't just walk off the street and stumble on the event.
No. They said actually they'd never heard of Somerset House before the Capsule did that podcast. Right.
Yeah. Kind of an unknown place.
Yeah, they said actually like the British government are thinking about using it for the monarchy now that we've shone a light on this venue.
Right. Fair. But with that said, no, there's also a lot of people from the community that showed up.
Yep.
Not like I wasn't surprised per se.
The majority was
general audience. Yeah. But I turned and I was just seeing a bunch of people that came through just to watch. And, you know, sometimes with events that are more exhibition and, you know, you can't enter, I always think, oh, maybe like the dance community isn't going to turn up as much because...
But I think it's a demographic thing. Yeah. Like they want a lot of the young kids there. Yeah. Because I was talking to someone about this, but like... because I think they're just in battle mode. They like if they want to, if they're going to places to compete, they're not necessarily consumers of dance. They're not all of them, but like they're participators and they're the ones that we consume. But I feel like with some of the older generation, it's like, and a lot of people that know Jade and stuff like that would be that generation that would want to come and just experience the day.
Yeah.
And like people with kids, stuff like that. It's like it was a good event for like that type families, of person. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean the whole day. I think we were only like the battle only ended like 15 minutes after the time we had.
Which planned. For a battle event, that is early.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be on time, but you know there were last minute changes. So it's like if we had like with the thing that we changed the next day, then with the things that we changed it a couple of days before, it was like, oh, then it's gonna run a little bit later.
Yeah, but no one's complaining about 15 minutes.
I know, but
that's great.
Yeah, But speaking of time, I was like thinking about the fact that I'm coming on the pod, and then I was like, oh, I have a this weekend. I realized that I have a pet peeve, and
Okay,
then
here we go.
I was like,
Is it people showing up late?
hot take. It's not a hot take.
That is
it's
the
a pet
coldest
peeve.
take ever. People showing up late are annoying.
No. Actually, and this is not to like one person in particular. I think there's quite a few people that said this to me this weekend, but actually everybody showed up like super early.
Dancers or
Dancers, like workshop leaders, performers. Everybody showed up before their call time,
perfect.
which was love that.
Dream come true.
Yes. But then my bone to pick, thank you. My bone to pick is like, if you're there super early, like if your call time backstage, you know, to be like on standby backstage is 10 minutes before you're supposed to be on stage, like be at your standby time, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a few people that like were like, oh, you don't have to worry about me. Like I'm a professional. You don't have to stress. Like I'll be there. And it's like, okay. But if you're not, you know, if you're not at your standby time, I don't know where you are.
Right. So you're going to panic up until literally the minute when the class... And if they walk on stage as it's about to start...
It's like, okay, your class started on time and you were... Like, your class started on time and you were on stage at the time that your class was supposed to start.
Be there early.
But, like, you kind of were nowhere to be seen, and then you just, like, show up, like, 30 seconds before it's supposed to start. And for me, it's like...
This is sinking.
Okay. So
lift it up higher. Grab that thing. Yeah, lift it. There we go.
Okay.
There we go. You got it, guys.
So it's like, if you told me that you're gonna be there at your standby time, and you're not there, then at this point I'm not trusting you anymore.
Yeah, because like the standby time is not like, you know, you're around and you're gonna be there on time, but the standby is for the team to know that you're there. Yeah, you have to check in with the team and make sure that.
Yeah, and also it's like, for me, there's also a thing about, I'm not only keeping track of you, I'm keeping track of a lot of other things that are happening. So if it's like, I don't know where you are, it kind of like takes real estate in my head of like, oh, we're going to need to send somebody to...
Just in case they don't show up. Or
and then blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, also maybe this is me being like very, not anal about time, but it's like, things are late sometimes. It's okay. It happens. But it's like, it's okay if it's late because there's a reason for it to be late, not just because
we couldn't find someone.
Yeah, or because like you had to pee. Yeah, you know, or when you've been here for like an hour and a half, or all these things. And
well, battles are way worse than like normal events. Usually, like judges will be just gone, and it's like.
But and this is the thing that I was thinking.
You have to hold it.
Okay, well, this is the thing that I was thinking about of like.
Oh, maybe you do.
Yeah.
Let me just do this one. Keep talking.
This is the thing that I was thinking about of like, you know, there's different like settings that call, or not that call for different attitudes, but I feel like, okay, if you're kind of in a big operation where it involves a lot of people, okay, maybe for you, your class is only starting 5 minutes late and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but the knock-on effects are crazy.
Exactly. In the grand scheme of things, it's like, okay, you're 5 minutes late, then the person runs over their time 5 minutes, then we're 10 minutes late, then blah, 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 and it pushes back to the end of the day. And then, you know, this didn't happen this weekend, but it's more like what's in my mind, like playing forward. And, you know, if some artists are told that the battle is going to end by a certain time and then they'll be released, it's kind of like, well...
It didn't end. Yeah.
It didn't, you know, sometimes like if it goes beyond that, then it's not fair to them, you know, and even just for everybody else involved, I'm just like, if you're on standby for 10 minutes before you go on stage, be on standby. Like, even if somebody just needs to tell you something, a mic doesn't work, somebody has a question, like, so there was quite a few people that...
Well, it goes the same for like tech runs and stuff like that, and like people are really like stage managers are really like that with tech runs, and it's kind of like, yeah, we're here, we're like, you know what I mean, and it's like, no, you need to be standing by the stage waiting, even if you're waiting for nothing, but it's just to like
this is part of your job. Your job is not just to like perform, your job is to be at the place where you need to be at the time that you need to be.
Yeah, because like the way I like to see it, even with filming and stuff like that, it's like sometimes, I mean, even at London Battle, I showed up way earlier than I like. in air quotes needed to.
Yeah.
But it's not that it's like, let's say it like this, like I didn't need to film anything for like 2 hours after I arrived. But the point is that I said I'd be there for a certain time in order to like check in with the team.
Yeah.
And it's always like just in case. So for me, I'd rather be there 2 hours early and not need to shoot anything rather than get there 5 minutes before I think I need to shoot something. And then they're like, oh yeah, there's all this stuff happened earlier and the dancers just broke out into a spontaneous cypher and Roxy did 72 head spins.
Yeah.
And you missed it because you didn't think there would be anything. You know what I mean? Like, so it could be, it's the same with filming or it's the same with dance. It's like, you never know. It's like, just be there just in case.
Yeah.
Even if you sit there and do nothing, it's better than the worst case, you know?
But all that, with that being said, I think like the being on standby thing was the only thing that, for me that day, there was quite a few people that gave me not a stress, but saying like, where is this person? You know?
Yeah. Like trying to keep a hold of everyone.
And then it's like, it turns out they're not very far. It turns out they're like,
I mean, I was judging Sawyer and Joel was kind of laughing at me because I was like telling him every time I was going to the toilet or something. And he's like, bro, you can do what you want. But I'm like when I'm off stage, like, I'm like, bro, I'm just going out. I'll just literally be there. I'm going to the toilet. And he's like, bro, you can do what you want. Like, you're on your break. But it's like, I need you to know that I can hear you because I'm by the door. I'm literally just going to the toilet. I'll be back. I didn't just disappear because I know especially with Joel, because he was running the event and MCing. So it's like I don't want to add to your stress. Even if I know I'm going to be right back, you don't know I'm going to be right back. So it's like, let me just let him know, even if you're going to laugh at me. And, you know.
But with that said, like everybody came. I think everybody came early. Everybody was super professional and lovely. And
I mean, the people that you had on the battle are all pretty seasoned professionals.
So I think it's like that was my only point of like, you know, maybe this is a bad analogy, but I feel like it's as if you're in a relationship and it's like if I have to ask the question in my head, is my boyfriend cheating? It's like, not you doing something wrong, but
there shouldn't be a question.
Like your behavior is making me think maybe you're cheating. So it's like, if I'm asking, where is this person?
Right. Like not literally like, oh, they'll be back, or like, you know, they've told me where they're going, or like.
Yeah. If it's like, if you're supposed to be here and I don't know where you are, then it's like, not you fucked up, but like.
Yeah. But that's, like you said, that's part of your job. Your job is to be places at certain times. For me, it's like, I also, like when I'm filming, there's plenty of times, especially with filming, but with dance or anything, where you sit around and do nothing for like hours at a time. But my thing is like, when I agreed to the day rate, I agreed that you have my time from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m., let's say. So if I get there at 10 and you say, oh, actually now everything's changed and nothing starts till 1, I agreed you paid me for my time between 10 and 6. It's up to you what you want to do with that time.
Yeah.
To an extent. Do you know what I mean? Like if I have to, I was like, right, wait there or go there. Or if you say, actually, we're going to do a second location. So for an hour, like you're going to be traveling to this other place.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still leaving at 6. So if you choose that hour in the middle of the day is for me to travel to the next location, that's up to you. Because you've paid between 10 and 6 with a break or whatever. So it's not really like, oh, I could have been doing this, or you know what I mean? Or like. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so that was my little bone to pick. But, you know, it's nothing big.
There are a few things to get through.
Okay, tell me.
News and such. One thing we didn't speak about is, do you know, how do you, because I want to get his name perfect. How do you say M-A-2-T, but like in French, how a French person would say it?
M-A-2-T? M-A-2-T?
Yeah, M-A-2-T. Did I say it right?
M-A-2-T?
M-A-2-T.
Yeah.
I said it right?
I think so.
Okay.
You're cute.
But that's how he spells his dance name.
Okay.
I'm assuming his name is Matt.
Why? Yeah, that would make sense.
M-A-2-T. Yeah. So he is a dancer.
Okay.
But he's also a beat maker. You've probably heard plenty of his tracks.
Purée de pommes de terre?
No, that is someone else. I'll play you an example, everyone. Okay. But yeah, for those that don't know, he is I'm sure anyone that's like a hip hop dancer has probably danced to his tracks. He's got, his SoundCloud is crazy, and he has not only 2 like sick mixtapes to train to, he has like 2 playlists which are like 400 songs deep.
Oh, wow.
Of like training tracks for hip hop dance, not of his own, but like of a mix of everyone.
A curated
playlist.
playlist.
I'm trying to think like what song would be a famous one that everyone would know. But his most popular one on. Heard that one?
Yes.
This one?
I don't think so.
Great song. Anyway, this is just a little skip through of Emadute.
Okay.
Anyway, great beat maker. Got loads of stuff online. He made a post that I said we'd briefly discuss on the pod, but it's been a couple of weeks since it happened, and we had other things that we had to get out. But yeah, basically he was kind of going in, which I've heard, it's something that I've heard other beat makers say in the past, creators spoken about it before and others, but about people buying their tracks, especially DJs. Like Matt was talking, or M.A. Dute was talking to DJs specifically. I've heard it about everyone, but basically that like DJs shouldn't be like playing his tracks if they haven't paid for the tracks. Like if they've ripped them off YouTube or they're playing them from a streamer, because streaming revenue is horrendous.
Right.
Did you know about this already or not?
Well, I don't know. I know that it's not like even for major labels. It's like not the artists aren't really making money.
Yeah, it's like 0.00003p or something like that per stream. It's like horrendous. So that doesn't really give them shit. But I guess playing it on a stream is somewhat more legal, I guess. Maybe. I don't know what the rules are around playing that in like live events, if you can play from Spotify for a live event. I don't know.
I feel like you need a license still.
Well, the venue would have the license to play commercial, so they have an overall thing that they pay to play music. But anyway, yeah, especially in battle stuff, like probably a lot of people are like ripping stuff from SoundCloud and YouTube to play. And the crazy thing about it, which he said is just true, is like he has a record of everyone that's paid for his music. So, and he knows that like it's not a big scene. So if you're playing like in the finals of a battle and he hears his song and then he just looks on his emails receipts, he's like, that motherfucker didn't buy my track, you know? Yeah. Of course, like somebody could have bought it, like you could have bought it and gave it to me and I played it. You know, it's like, all right, but still it's like pretty easy to to know. So yeah, it's just, I think it's just interesting because it's also like the thing that Matt was saying, I'm going to keep calling him Matt until I know differently.
Emaduti or Maduti.
Matthew? Can we call him Matthew?
I don't know if his name is Matthew, but yeah.
Well, how can you be called Matt and not be called Matthew?
Some people are just called Alex.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
I know someone whose name is just Alex.
No, you don't. They're lying. They just don't like their full name.
I saw their passport and driver's license and it's just Alex.
False. Okay. They doctored it.
They what?
Or they got it changed to just Alex.
No, it was always just Alex.
No, no one's called just Alex.
Anyways, carry on with your point.
No one's just called just Matt. No one's called just John.
Shout out Alex Dunn.
Alex Dunn.
Yeah.
Her name is just Alex.
Yeah.
Shout out Alex Dunn. Moving on. So shout out to Matt. He said that it's important because it's a really small scene, and it's like the thing is, as a DJ you can make money because you can obviously DJ for battles and stuff, but if nobody's paying to buy the music of a beat maker, there's no other way for them to make money. And with SoundCloud and Spotify and stuff, people are like just using that to play the tracks, especially if you're like training, like if you're a dancer that's training at home and stuff, you're just playing it off that. So as much as, you know, you can, the only real way I can see to make money as a beat maker is to also DJ. And when you DJ, you play your own exclusive
like
stuff.
Shashu vibes.
Yeah. But does he play his own stuff? Okay, yeah, that's the way you should do it. Shout out to Shashu as well, actually. We spoke to him briefly, but that's I think the only way. I've told this story before, but Nobunaga Panic, he used to I think it was his brother or something that made beats that he used to play. And I messaged him this is like 2013, 14.
Right.
I messaged him somewhere and I was like, oh, there's this song in this battle, like, is it ever coming out? Like, I'll pay for it. Like, how? Because I love this song. Yeah. And he pretty much said, like, forget you ever heard it. Like, you'll never get this. Like, not in a horrible way, but he just kind of said, sorry, bro, like, forget you ever heard it kind of thing. Because I think he's just like, but I get it because that's what, like, can up your price as a DJ is like, no one else has got hold of the songs that you're going to play in the battles. and it means that people, if they want to hear those songs, they have to pay you. So that's the only way I can really see a beat maker making like guaranteed money, or people buy your tracks.
Yeah.
Which is the best way to do it, I guess. But that, you know, it's hard in a day when people have the option to rip stuff, because there's people who have kind of integrity and care about the scene, and then there's a ton of people that just don't give a shit and are just kind of selfish in that way, you know.
But I feel also, if I was a DJ, which I'll never be, it's like it would be almost in your interest to, you know, especially for the beat makers that are really kind of in the, you know, making music for battles and in the scene and feeling that, it's a kind of like, if you're a DJ and you buy that music and you build a relationship, like, you know, you build a business relationship.
Oh, this happens a lot where they'll get exclusive sent to them. Or
yeah, exactly.
Like, we had it for a battle once. There was I forget the dude's name actually. That's terrible. But this is like 2012, so forgive me. But a battle that me and Mus were doing.
Yeah.
When he was DJing, and the guy sent us like a whole pack of like 6 or 7 like brand new tracks that they weren't coming out for like 2 months, and he was like, you can play them at your battle this weekend or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like, let's say as a DJ you have your fee, and then you charge an extra like 10-15 quid a gig that you invest towards buying music regularly.
Yeah. You should like in the same way that like as a cameraman I have to invest in equipment.
Yeah.
So like if I have to spend extra money to hire equipment, I'll charge that to the company, or I'll like say to them, in order to do this job, I need more songs. So my price is this, because it's an include the hire. You could do that as a DJ. Oh yeah, like take a percentage, and like that should be part of your catalog of like buying tracks.
Yeah, I feel like in the UK there's not even that many people that are really like dedicated to DJing for battles, or that are like active DJ battles.
I mean, we could probably name them on 2 hands.
Name on one hand.
I reckon you got Sheldon, Josh, Debo.
Shout out DJ Sev Raven.
Yeah, DJ Sev Raven. That's not his name. Jenny got it wrong at the battle. Sheldon, Josh, Debo, Lewis, Rommel, House Rommel, Francesca, but she's not living in the UK at the moment. Frankie, Steph. Well, she's not battle, but she has done battles. Yeah. But you know what I mean? There's probably like 15.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious to know like how they get there, or you know what percentage they like.
I know Lewis buys his, if I can vouch for him, because we've spoken about this, and he like actually pays to get, either he pays or he has relationships with producers who will send.
Also, it's like when you buy the music, I feel like the quality has to be
well, that's also
better.
the thing. Like, I think it was Matt who was saying this, or I could be wrong, but like that someone was saying around this topic that like they can hear when you've ripped the fucking track off YouTube. Like they're like, I can hear the difference. Yeah. And it's like you like that download, if you don't know anything about music that much, is like there's certain formats and stuff that will play in higher quality. There's certain like ways that the track needs to be done to play on a huge system like that. Just because it sounds good in your headphones doesn't mean.
Also I feel like if you play things on a loud music, like if you've ripped a whole bunch of tracks, then they're all gonna sound like super different. You know, like the levels aren't gonna be adjusted. So I mean, I've never given that much thought, but I wonder like how DJs do it, like if they pay for all their music, or
well, at very least, I would say pay for the people in the scene who you know are making battle-specific music. All right, if you don't pay for fucking Timbaland's beats, I'm not going to hold it against you. Is it the wrong thing to do morally? Yeah, yes. But do we all download movies? No. Yes. Allegedly. But allegedly, we all download movies. Google Yiffy. But shout out to Yiffy.
We allegedly watched the new Spider-Man a few weeks ago.
That was out. The Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
It's out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but when we watched it, it wasn't.
Oh.
Allegedly.
But yeah, all right. Like if you're the right thing to do is pay for everyone's tracks. Yeah. Are you doing that for every Timbaland beat, every whatever? But at least the people in the scene who are contributing, taking time out of their
independence.
Yeah, people who you know are not backed by anyone big and are literally trying to like without battle tracks, we don't have like a scene, if you know what I mean.
I mean, there would still be music.
Sorry, let me say that. Without music, we don't have a scene.
Yeah.
So those are the people that are like, you know, building that kind of foundation for us. So especially the ones that are like taking it seriously. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of like beats out there that is like, there's some kid that made like 3 beats and then gave up. I'm also one of them. But it's like, all right, you guys, you have permission to take my music
Yeah.
for free. You don't have to pay for my music.
I'll take a cut of his music.
It's not worth much. It's terrible. So yeah, but shout out to Emeduti.
Emma Dirty.
Emaduti.
T.
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 Tay. Tay. Like Tay.
Like T, accent aigu. T.
Tay.
Yeah.
Emedute.
M-A.
M-A.
Dirty.
Dute.
Okay.
Sorry. All
Let's
right,
move
now
on.
this is a list of people's names. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry, Matt. Yeah. Anyway, you can check the post out on his page if you want to see his words. But yeah, man, support them beat makers. What else do we have to talking about? Nope, that's my to-do list for the rest of the week. That's not the pod topics.
Go
Okay.
food shopping.
Oh, well, let's talk about this book first. Because I haven't read it yet, so I don't have so much to say about it yet. But Tommy Boost
Ooh.
kindly sent us a copy, which I think is very lovely and sweet that he would think of us for something like this. Can we leave that there for the rest of the
Yeah.
segment? How do we do this? Shit.
Don't destroy the living room.
Don't destroy the podcast studio. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay. Just have to-
Like, okay, put it between us.
Okay. So shout out to Tommy Boost. He wrote this book called Dancing with Purpose. I'm looking on the website, but basically tommyboost.co.uk. His words are: dance is a consuming passion requiring dedication and hard work. Dancing with Purpose is a guide by Tommy Boost that helps dancers become their best selves. It emphasizes the uniqueness of dance as a personal expression and encourages embracing individuality. We love that. This book takes readers on a chapter-by-chapter journey, helping them shed anything that doesn't align with their dance identity and create personal goals. It provides pathways to achieving those goals and supports dancers in their continuous self-improvement. This book is for those willing to take action, prepare mentally and physically, and commit to their training. It empowers dancers to use dance as a language for personal creativity, facing fears and challenges head on. Dancing with Purpose serves as a reminder to never give up on one's passions or dreams, to always strive to be a dancer. We love that.
Oh, very cool.
So go and check out tommyboost.co.uk, and I believe this is all kind of like self-published because it's on his website. I believe it's all self-created and published. So we love a bit of entrepreneurialism within the dance scene, and especially entrepreneurialism that is trying to help dancers and give
There's
back.
314 pages.
That's a lot of pages.
That's a lot of writing. Well done.
So
I
yeah.
feel like that's a big achievement.
I would love to know maybe more. Tommy, if you listen, comment on the YouTube for us, please. Thank you. And let us know how the process of writing this. Did you write it yourself? Did you have an editor? Did you publish it? Like, let me know all the details in the comments on the YouTube. And people that are listening, go and check out if and when Tommy comments on the YouTube, go and check it out and give his comment a like and tell him he's wonderful. And yeah, go and check out the book on the website. And if it speaks to you, purchase it. And also massive thanks to Tommy for sending one to us to have a look at. I'm going to get around to reading it. I'm just incredibly busy at the moment.
I like the title of chapter 3. It takes great sacrifice to become who you want to be.
So I should get rid of you to become who I want to be. Is that what you're saying? Is that what Tommy's saying?
Yes.
Thanks, Tommy. Great advice.
Throw this book in the fire.
move your mic around.
You move my mic.
Just move it towards me.
Oh, shut up.
Okay. Let's move on. The next one is some sad news.
What?
Some sad news. Are you ready for the sad news?
Is it happy news?
No, it's actually sad news.
Oh, what?
It's looking like breaking may not be in the Olympics in 2028.
I saw that. That is sad news.
So for those that want to know details, I'm going to give you to the best of our knowledge, as we do every time on the capsule. So, what happened was breaking was in the Youth Olympic Games in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
It then got accepted into the Olympic Games in Paris in 2024, which are obviously next year still to happen. I think I have dates. I believe it's August. Let me check because I put this in my diary on purpose.
That's coming so soon.
Yep, it is coming very soon. August 9th and 10th, 2024. So Friday the 9th is going to be the women's, and then Saturday the 10th of August is going to be the men's. So in the meantime, while this has all been announced and set up and it's happening, LA got given the Olympics for 2028, which is the following Olympics. And so I'm just going to read from this is from the Olympics social media.
Yeah.
So let me find, hold on. No, I'm lying. This is from the LA Times. So Olympic policy gives each host city an option of proposing additions to the 28 sports, which are the
like the core sports.
The core sports such as gymnastics, track and basketball, onto the standard program. So it says, this is the LA Times speaking, always mindful of building its brand, the IOC, International Olympic Committee, likes popular games that will draw a new generation of fans. So the host city doesn't get to choose additional games, it gets to propose additional games.
Okay.
So they have the 28 core sports. Then let's say Paris proposed skateboarding, breaking, others. And from those additions, the IOC accepted the ones that they think work. So they looked into it. So it was half Paris proposing breaking and half the Olympics accepting breaking. But it's looking like LA are not going to propose breaking.
Right.
So
damn, the Americans, how you do your own discipline like that?
It says newcomers are given a one-time only pass with no guarantee of becoming permanent for these extra sports. Surfing, skateboarding and sports climbing got their shot in Tokyo and did well enough to stick around. Breaking, otherwise known as breakdancing, not to us it's not, did not make the cut for 2028 and might be one and done after its Paris debut. So
that is sad news.
That is very sad news. The final decision will be made. This is now from the Olympics socials. The final decision will be made in the coming days. But LA are proposing baseball/softball, flag football, which is like American football, but instead of tackles, you pull a flag out and that counts basically. It's a slightly safer version. What did you say?
The pussies.
Okay. Okay.
With all due respect to all the athletes.
I hope the Olympics repost this segment of the capsule. Cricket.
Okay.
Fair. Lacrosse. I guess that's pretty popular. Squash. And I think that's it. So those are the ones that LA are proposing. Whether or not they all get accepted is up to the IOC, but they're not proposing breaking. So it's not to say that breaking can never go back in the Olympics, but it's just that
like it could be proposed by the next hosting city.
And like now that it's been like it still doesn't take away from how exciting the changes are, because from now on, any city will have at least one Olympics to look at to say, oh, we want to propose breaking in our city. Now, this doesn't mean this isn't a reflection on LA, because breaking would be crazy popular in LA. But let's say, for example, there might be places that aren't as interested in breaking. But let's say between now and 32 is the ones after that? 28? Yeah, 32, which is quite a while. It's almost 8 years, yeah. If breaking becomes popular in certain places, let's say it blows up in London, obviously we see like brands and stuff putting, money, like Adidas and Nike putting money behind dancers and stuff like that, Red Bull, etc. Let's say it gets really popular. And then let's say London get the Olympics in 2032.
Yeah.
If it's big enough, they might go, oh, well, we have to put breaking in. It was done in Paris 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. And it's so popular now that we have to put it in.
Right. Feel like that would be unlikely though, no?
Why?
Like
it happened once.
Do sports come back? Like if
yeah.
Like if they have Like, do they have rounds in the Olympics that they're just there every like 8 or 12 years?
Well, that's the thing. So the core sports are the 28, right?
Yeah.
Those are there every Olympics.
Yeah.
But then each city can propose the 4 extra ones that they want. So it's not bringing 4 on for the rest of the Olympics. It's literally just for their turn. You can say, I think it's 4 or 5, however many. I don't know if there's a restriction actually to how many, but you can propose, all right, well, seeing as it's coming to London, we want our 28 plus these 4 or 5 that we know are popular here. So when you go to that, like if you go to, I don't know, India or something, maybe cricket is going to be proposed again because they love it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not that those sports you're proposing them to stay in the Olympics forever. You're saying just for our year, can we have these extra ones? Right. And if they say, yeah, I guess our worldwide audience agree with that.
I guess cool. I never followed the Olympics enough to realize that they were like, that the sports were changing.
Right.
Like that there was new sports depending which city.
Yeah, but also, even if you do watch the Olympics, you're not watching every sport. So it's like only if you follow the specific
But
sport,
damn, I wonder how it's going to impact like the sponsorships and all of that.
Well, hopefully not at all, because it seems like a step backwards. Although it doesn't necessarily mean it's a step backwards because of what I just explained. So because each city, like I said, because each city has, this mic is annoying me, hold on. Sorry guys, I'm back. Because each city has the chance to propose their sports, those sports are now in the ether, is that the right word? Yeah. So now they not only are they already in it and like people are seeing it, and we have our own competitions which are huge, so we're going to keep making noise. Our breaking was never dependent on the Olympics anyway. However, as of August 2024, breaking will have an example of what it looks like on that world stage. Yeah. So people will be able to refer back to that. Brands will see that and be like, "Wow, look how it looks as a Olympic sport." Right. That does 2 things. The first one is, if any host countries around the world see that and then get their bid, they can look through and see what has been already put on. So they could look and go, right.
Like have an example.
Sorry?
Know what to expect a little bit.
Yeah, they know what to expect. They have an example. They see how many people turn out. And I'm pretty sure breaking is going to be like packed at the Olympics. And it's going to capture the youth. All the things that we celebrated as to why it's in the Olympics in the first place, those are also reasons why it could come back and other host cities could look at that and go, we agree. Like, it's just LA that said something stupid or didn't propose. For whatever reasons, they've decided that they're not going to propose it. But all those other countries could be like, well, we agree with Paris, we want to propose it. So it could come back, right?
The thing that sucks though is like, because the Olympic cycle is so long, it's like, right, if you've entered this Olympic, like the next one is in 8 years, like if you're at your
if it gets proposed,
but meaning like it's a long time to
like the people that are going to be in that Olympics are like, if it gets proposed in 8 years, are like
going to be brand new people.
Yeah. But I think the other thing is like, you have a chance to show how it looks on that huge stage, get a lot of exposure to the sport for people that don't otherwise know it. So even if there's no Olympics after that, because of that one Olympics, so many more eyes are going to be on breaking.
Yeah. Imagine like if the person who wins gold, it's like, damn, maybe that was the only time that sport was ever going to be in. And you're like, that would be special. No pressure.
I wonder if there if there's any sports that have only ever been once in the Olympics.
Polo.
No.
I don't know. I'm just saying stuff as usual.
Let me see what Google's saying.
Right. One hit wonders of the Olympics.
Yeah. List of discontinued sports or events. Since the first modern games in 1896, 10 sports have disappeared completely from the Olympic schedule. These are croquet, cricket, jeu de paume. C'est quoi ça?
Jeu de paume?
P-A-U-M-E.
Paume?
Yeah. P-A-U-M-E.
Yeah, it's like the palm of a hand. It's like a palm. Jeu de paume. I have no clue what that is.
Hand game.
It's like palm hand.
Handball, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Palm game.
Yeah, it might be handball.
Yeah.
Pelota, No idea what that is. Polo, rock,
Oh, I did say polo.
rackets, tug of war, hilarious. Lacrosse, which
Okay.
LA have proposed, and motorboating.
That's not a sport.
That's a hilarious.
It's like
get your
now
mind
in
out
the
gutter.
Olympics, driving a car.
No, it's like boat racing.
Yeah, but
There's like car racing or
yeah, but
NASCAR
that's
or
not
something.
that's not a sport.
What's Formula One? What a dumb thing to say.
I know, this is my opinion. It's not a fact.
Um,
I do believe that. I know that these guys have to be fit and stuff, but you're just still driving a car.
no, you have to be crazy fit to drive a car.
Okay,
They lose-
G-force,
they lose
G-force,
pounds.
G-force,
They
G-force.
lose pounds during the races. Anyway, listen. LA,
Okay, fine.
LA, get your shit together.
With all due respect to all the NASCAR drivers,
Lewis Hamilton.
yeah, he could get it.
Okay. All right. Moving on. So LA get it together, but also guys, don't lose hope. It's disappointing, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
Breaking was popular before the Olympics and getting more and more popular. Look at the size of BC1. Look at all of these huge competitions. The sport was never, ever dependent on the Olympics. It just could have got a big boost, and it will. So all
it
of
got
these...
amplified, but
It
we
got,
don't know.
put it this
what
way,
it
if we
means.
think positively, it got a huge amplification to be included in Paris. So let's make the most of that. All of these brands, all of these things, there's a lot of things that are going to be clarified through the Olympics. The topic of judging has been
has been
fast forwarded because of the Olympics. So we've had to have conversations that might not have happened, for another 5-6 years in the space of a year and a half, because the Olympics happened and that whole thing provoked that conversation to be had about fair judging. So there's a lot of benefits that are going to come to our scene. There's a lot more eyes on the scene. There's a lot more money coming our way. And there's a lot more, even if it's not included in LA, there's still a lot more validation from something that has now been classed as an Olympic sport. So, yeah, I think it's just now, the wave is coming, and we know it might be the only wave for however many years. So get your surfboards out and ride the wave, because it's like if you miss that wave. No, I'm not talking about the athletes in the Olympics. I'm talking about our scene, because there's a lot of things that are going to come to the scene. And when it comes, there's a lot of eyes that are going to be on breaking that won't be there for another 8 years. So while the eyes are there, you've got until August next year. Get it together. Get your competitions top shape. Get your dance in top shape. Get your classes ready. Get your promo, so that when everybody's like, "Whoa, what's this breaking thing?" All the news channels are talking about it. You're ready to make the most of that for whatever it could be. You could teach locking or popping or something, but it will trickle down. So, as disappointing as it is for that specific arena, it doesn't mean that the benefits are going to be gone. There's still a huge tsunami of attention coming to the breaking scene and the hip hop scene.
No, you're right. It's like the wave is coming. Get your surfboards out, because surfing might be in the 2028 Olympics. So legit, start surfing.
You were waiting to make that joke, huh?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Shout out LA.
But you're right. Yeah, LA for letting your people down. What's up?
They were like New York created breaking, and they were like, okay,
No problem. Something from New York?
we'll just wait until we get to 2028.
No, thank you.
We'll get our comeback. They should at least put funk styles in the Olympics. No, don't. we don't have.
We're not ready.
We're not ready. We are not ready. All right. Well, we're going to run over time because we thought we were going to do less, because we have one last topic.
And
You put your stupid socks on me. So, I went to see Message in a Bottle by
I'm
Zoo
a
Nation.
message in a bottle,
No,
baby.
that's Genie in a Bottle.
Who's to say? Sting.
Sting,
Okay.
Christina Aguilera. Okay, so I don't have to give my review, but I'm gonna.
Okay.
All right, Message in a Bottle. Where to begin? Let's start here. I know a lot of people who are in the show.
Okay.
I love you all. I know people who have choreographed for the show. Love you all. I don't know Kate Prince personally, but we've met and we've spoke. Fan of a lot of stuff that she's done. Seems like a lovely, sweet person who has been lovely to me every time we've met. Zoo Nation as a company, a lot of great things. A lot of great people have come from Zoo Nation. This is nothing but love. You know what? I'm scared about this review since Drake replied to Joe Budden, because anything's possible now.
So that was violent.
That was a violent reply. Imagine Kate replies to replies to this review with that.
Imagine Kate is actually Drake.
Okay, well that's not related to anything. Okay. Right. I didn't like the show.
Okay.
Let's start there. Let's start there. Where to even begin? So I didn't enjoy the show.
Okay, what did you not like about it?
Should we start with positive or negative? That's my question.
Do a sandwich.
A sandwich, okay. I think the cast are great.
Okay.
It's, if you hire good dancers like that, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, the choreography showed off how amazing they were. I've seen it twice now. I saw it, I think, like opening night, or like at least press night of the first ever. We saw it right at the beginning.
I don't think it was press night, but it was like the first run.
The first week or so, it was out the first run. So we saw it then, and then I saw it again recently with pretty much a brand new cast. I don't know if anyone was, maybe there's some people that are the same, but I don't think so. It's like a big change up. And both times I felt pretty similar, but I wanted to see it again with some distance and an open mind. The cast are great, and you had Lucas McFarlane playing the main role, and then the girl who I don't know her name, but who played opposite him. Both just fucking phenomenal movers, and the parts where they did the kind of stuff that they do well, which is like the contemporary stuff, was really good. There was a duet between just those two, which is like just gorgeous, like one of my favorite moments, well, probably my favorite moment in the show. Fantastic movies, and like I said, the choreography is good. They use the space well. The set looks lovely. They've done some really nice, without going too crazy or overboard, they've done some really nice lighting choices and inventive uses of the stage. It was, in that sense, it was nice. I can't fault, the dancers. I can't fault really most of the choreography besides what I'm about to say. And it was a nice evening. The where my criticism begins is with the use of the hip hop styles. So for those that don't know, Message in a Bottle is all set to Sting music. The whole thing is set to Sting's music. And there is the story of refugees. I won't ruin the story too much for those that might go and see it, but it's a story of refugees and
escaping a country.
Yeah, kind of. It's like their journey, let's say, and there's various things that happen. And the hip hop. I just want to check if it's billed as a hip hop show. Do you know if it's billed as a hip hop show?
I don't believe so.
That's interesting if that's the case. Well, it says dance theatre show on the Sadler's website.
Yeah. I don't think it claims to be hip hop.
That's interesting, yeah. Spectacular dance theatre show from 5-time Olivier Award nominee Kate Prince. I mean, listen, I don't have any Olivier Awards, so this is just my opinion. I do, however, have a British Movement Award. Shout out to British Movement Awards. But no, so my first criticism is with the use of hip hop styles. It's not billed as a hip hop show, correct? But they have breaking, locking, maybe an 8 of popping, I would say, max, if that. and then some vaguely house steps in it, right? The breaking is the most breaking and locking are the most on the nose of the styles.
Right.
Like they're straight up breaking routines, top rock, footwork, freeze.
Yeah.
The locking is straight up locking for entire choreography sets. The house is like, what's the dude we went to see, actually I don't even know if you came, famous contemporary choreographer, maybe begins with an A. I'm keep thinking Akram, but it's not him. There's another guy, very famous. Just name some people. Help me out here, please. Throw me a life vest. You're just staring at me.
That
Famous contemporary choreographers, the most famous people you can think of.
Hofesh.
Hofesh. That's the guy I was thinking. That didn't take long.
I was like,
if you tried to help me, that
no,
would be
because
great.
I was like thinking that starts with A. And
No, but I was like, I
don't
think
know.
it's beginning with A, but I'm wrong. Anyway,
Okay.
I went
got
to
it-
see,
got
I
it
think,
first try.
one or two of his pieces, and he does these kind of like almost like groovy,
Yeah.
like the house in Message could be something like what he would do in that way of like, it's not like house,
Yeah.
and it's not even on really house music, but
Yeah.
it's just like this kind of step, which, you know, house doesn't own
Yeah.
a lot of that type of movement or that type of step. It's like present in many cultures
Yeah.
across the world. So you could get away with saying that that's not house, but you could also get away with saying it's house, right? Depending on which side you're on. Breaking and locking straight up. So first of all, I think it was, for me, it was very unnecessary. And I don't know what the purpose of putting those styles in is, besides like I'm being very careful with my words, besides the illusion of creating a fresh take on dance theatre. So I think the thing is, when you use like breaking or whatever in this traditional space, and that's why, you know, something like Breaking Convention, like people love and stuff, and a lot of like hip hop theatre shows are like, wow, this is so cool, is because you're taking a traditionally classical space and a traditionally classical dance medium, Western classical, whatever, I'm not getting into that, but and then you use breaking or these street styles, and it's
Yeah.
like, wow, isn't that cool that you're using a different medium to
Yeah, it's like
tell these
using a
same
different
stories?
language.
Exactly. And it's like a fresh new language and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. With this, it feels like that's the main purpose, is just that. Not to use it because it's the right medium to tell that specific story, not because it aids the artistic creation, anything like that. It's literally, it feels like to me, just in order to say there's breaking in the show, there's locking in the show. That's my first criticism. It feels just put in for the sake of people being able to recognize it as breaking, because a lot of contemporary dancers and contemporary shows use breaking in their pieces, right? Now that's a whole other political conversation, because they kind of don't credit it as breaking or don't credit, you know, who they've trained with or whatever. But you can use it as in, like, you can use the floor work, you can use the ways of moving to create in a way that's completely separate from the style, and it's your own way of creating. You've just learned from these people. Of course you should go and credit these people in your show notes or whatever, but I think, you know, you can definitely use that to aid your own language. None of this is anyone's own language in this show. This is straight up breaking. This is like top rock to one side, top rock to the other side, go down, footwork, freeze. And it's like, this is just copy and paste breaking in the most like teaching a kids class kind of way.
Right.
Obviously,
it's not like a choreographic language.
no, there's no choreographic language developed in the locking and breaking.
Yeah.
And that's my first thing that I don't like, because it feels like you're just putting it in there and making sure we recognize that. It's because some contemporary shows, you could not recognize that breaking is in there, right?
Right.
Wang Ramirez
Yeah.
use a lot of breaking in there, and you could almost not know that he's trained as a breaker. You could think that it's just like
He's
contemporary
really good on floor.
Exactly. And that's where I think it actually should be, unless the point is that you're trying to do breaking in the thing. And if you do that, there should be a reason to do, like, what message are you sending with that, right?
Yeah.
So this is the thing I don't like, is that you're just putting this in just to say this is breaking, because like I said, it's just trying to show the style, and B, there's no creation within that, right? You're just putting a straight up standard breaking set. Of course, there's some strength moves in there and some cool stuff that I personally can't do, but I know a lot of breakers that can. Yeah. And you know, there's a couple of nice moments in the way it's choreographed, but nothing out of the box. But like if you go and watch Wang Ramirez and the way that they include breaking moves in their stuff, there's nothing even close to that. It's just straight up breaking. And the other thing with that is like, if you're using these styles in the piece, I think you either need to innovate with them or have something to do with the ecosystem in which they exist. And tell me if you disagree. But like the thing that I kind of found myself irritated by was like, it felt a little bit like mining a natural resource and then like just leaving and selling that stuff on, you know, like what we criticize countries for doing in a way that like, I couldn't help but watch the locking sets and think this is going on a world tour and that style is dying around the world, right? Because people don't, there's not as much interest in it, but there's also like the music is not being cultivated as much, which is my opinion of why locking is dying a little bit. And there's also not the same arenas, like this is not a pod about locking, but there's not the same areas for it to grow, right? For these the way I see the scene, and this is maybe can speak to like my opinions on the show, is that at the core of and I've spoke about this ages ago on one of the pods, but the core of the scene of hip hop styles is the parties and the social environment, right? So anything party, social, whether that's like meeting up and hanging out, whether that's like, you know, parties, clubs, blah, blah. That's where these styles are like, and actually you could probably put like TikTok in there because it's like, it has the same effect where it's like social exchange of dancing. But that is where moves and styles are grown, right? So like, there's never anyone in a choreography class that does something that then at the parties people are like doing that. It comes from there first, and you might not know, so you might be copying a Paris Goebel move but then not know that it came from dancehall, but like you're doing it in a party because you're copying Paris, but actually she took it from dancehall. So all the real innovations come from the parties. Just outside of that, I see like the battle scene and the freestyle scene where it's like we have some give and take, like so some things are innovated and grown from the freestyle scene because there's so much exchanging there's so much exchange encouraged. Then you have like the choreography scene and the classes and the shows and all that, and basically what they do is they look at what's popping and they take that and they use that in their stuff. So if you see nowadays, there's a ton of like light feet stuff that's happening in all these choreography things. And a lot of people don't know that it comes from light feet even. They just think, oh, this is the trendy move. But it's like, yeah, that trendy move came from a social situation and from a people that are growing these things. So they just do the move and they change it however they want and they do the lock-ins off beat and all that, right? Same with Afro. Now, all of the like choreo is like Afro themed, you know, it's like an Afro step, an Afro step, but it's like, oh, it's choreography because it's still Chris Brown, but it's like, yeah, it's still an Afro step that, and it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you are mining from these natural resources to put into your things, right? Because you're not everyone, but a lot of people are not giving back to that. It's not a give and take. It's not, I'm taking to use this, but I'm also contributing. You have to shout out to people like dude from Denmark, Toby Duran. I don't know how to say his name. Someone like him. I think like Tony Czar was like big into the house scene. Like there's people like that who are choreographers who put stuff, like Toby choreographs like a hip hop freestyler, but he battles. So he, by battling and being around the scene and being part of like the community that he's like, in air quotes in this case, taking from, he's also contributing back because there's people that like will learn from him by exchanging with him and be around him. So you're giving back in this thing. So that's where I see a give and take. There's a lot of choreographers that don't give back. They just take. And that's where I see the problem when you're, and it's like, you know, we talk about people like teaching classes of lock-in and stuff like that. And it's like, cool, but nobody's innovating from the class. It's not being added to the styles. You're not seeing people doing it at parties because there was a new move that was put in class. You might learn the foundations in a class and that might help, but in a party, you can, if enough people catch on to like changing the foundation of a style, the whole style can change and the feeling of the style can change. That can't happen from a class or from a show. Does that make sense? So it flows upwards, not back down. And it should flow both ways. There should be a give and take. So going back to message, like I said, there's locking is in this show, but I don't know, like for me, I would feel better if, let's say, on every stop of this tour, they put on a lock-in jam. Let's say just a small studio jam, and just said, we want to help the lock-in community, whatever. So we're going to facilitate this little jam in all these different countries, and we're going to like just have a DJ play some tracks, and like people can come and get into lock-in and cipher and train and practice and socialize and party or whatever. Like just something to like recognize this style in its element. Similar with the breaking, where it's like these moves that you're doing were curated by breakers and innovated and developed by breakers who are ciphering, training, battling. And it's like, okay, cool, you take it one way, but what is being,
like, you feel like there's a social responsibility.
I feel like there's a social responsibility when you're using these type of styles.
But do you feel like you would like expect the same kind of social responsibility from other companies like Black Sheep, or
if they were doing a whole set of dancehall and they didn't have,
or like you mean you feel that way when it's like companies that aren't necessarily like active in their in their own community?
Well, it's not even their like. It's not to say like you have some people in that. Like, I mean, obviously, shout out to Dylan. He's a good friend of mine, but like, he's around the scene and he enters battles and he's, he gives back to a lot of people. So it's like, you can't really fault the dancers for that.
No.
But as a company, that's what I'm saying is like, as the umbrella of the company, you can't say, oh yeah, but one individual in the thing gives back.
No. But I was more thinking of like, as like the company, because let's say if you're looking at a company that is like, let's say Wayne Ramirez, for example, because you said them. It's like, okay, that like they both came from the scene, and like I don't know how much they're like entering jams or putting on things, or if they're focused more on creating work. But it's like, do you feel like it's something that you've paid your dues at some point, and then if they just focus, but like they have been like involved in contributing to the scene in a way for a long time. So even if they just focused on creating work and not like engaging with the community, like you wouldn't hold them. I agree. Like I don't know Wang Ramirez enough to know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I might have an issue with them if somebody was like, oh yeah, like that guy's never been to a battle in his life. Yeah. He just learned breaking and then just uses it. That's a different story. But like, let's say, I'm trying to think of someone that does theatre that we know well, like the Ruggeds. Perfect fucking example. The Ruggeds are using breaking to make money from putting like on shows and all that type of thing. However, the Ruggeds to this day contribute to this scene. So they raise the level of the scene by being competitors. They create and innovate. If you look at anyone like Lee, Neek, any of those guys, it's like the stuff that they're creating is pushing the boundaries of breaking every day, which causes other breakers to do the same, which develops the scene, right? So just by being a part, you can contribute to a scene by being in it. Is why I try to make an effort to like enter when I'm not working. I know it happens a lot. I haven't entered a battle in a while, but like enter battles, cipher when I can, do training. I did a training session just the other day where I invited random people I've never trained with, not random people, you're all lovely people, but like people random as in I don't usually train with them. I paid for the studio. And like, we just ciphered and got rounds in, because it's not about necessarily doing something for them or paying them or whatever. It's like just exchanging and bringing my ideas on the dance thing can like it help to build the scene and to give people different ways of thinking, whatever it might be. It's contributing to the scene in other ways besides just doing stuff for people. It's like being a part of it is a big deal. And that goes the same with social events. Like if it's like, I don't know, whether it's going to like, I feel like In the House do a lot of stuff where it's like almost they have a good grasp on doing stuff that's like party based and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Clara, Frankie, those guys, like they won't put on an event unless there's like a social element as well, which is great. But it's like I'll go to like we went to break down the house. You know, like I'll go and just have a drink and hang out and chill and like contribute to the social environment. You know, it's not just about.
Or also, as you were saying, there's also the thing of even like contributing, even if it's not like in a jam or in a battle, whatever. But it's like, if I think of Wang Ramirez, it's like they are contributing in the sense that they are like they've pushed like the imagination of what you can do with breaking, even with like all their wire work and like the way, you know, kind of that we approach creation.
And I think that's the thing is like, that's what got me about messages. Like if you are going to do this one side and you're going to take from it and use it,
then push it.
The very least thing you can do is to like open our minds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, this person is they're not really a person that uses breaking. They've never really done breaking in the scene. Okay, cool. Let's see it. Oh, wow. They did some crazy shit with it though. So at very least, you know, give people some inspiration.
Also, I feel like maybe and, you know, maybe this is very much geared towards a more general audience, but it's like to the eye of somebody who knows dance a little bit, it's like the level of the contemporary or more like routines and the level of the breaking routines is not the same.
Oh my God, no. Like when Lucas and that girl do the duet, it's like the Ruggeds breaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Sky Chief and Roy doing a duet. Yeah. Like they're like fantastic at what they do.
Yeah.
The breaking is not anywhere near that level.
Yeah.
And it's not a fault on the dancers. Like they did a fantastic job. They executed the hell out of it. But and it's not even really choreographically, because whoever choreographed that has worked within the boundaries of what they've been given. Yeah. But it's like, it's the whole setup of the show.
Yeah.
It's like how that is going to fit in.
Yeah.
I just don't think they've really done those styles justice, and I think there should be a bit more give and take with less emphasis on the take, you know, because it just didn't feel good to me watching that, and especially like lock-in is a bit of a touchy subject, and I'm not into lock-in. Like with all transparency, it's never been my style. It's never been something that
you were into. Yeah,
like me and Mus used to go and, you know, go get some fresh air when lock-in category was on, because we're like, I don't really want to watch this. As I've grown, things have changed. I also never used to be into Vogue. Now I would really love to watch that. You know, like when I first saw that at events, I never really was into it, but now I'm like really interested in it. So you grow and change. However, as much as I'm not into lock-in or the music, it still exists as a part of the scene, and therefore I still care about it for that reason. And I think seeing it in Message, I didn't enjoy it in the thing at all, because it's also, the thing is, and I try and tell people this when I've done work at the university on the dance program, we do, one of the modules that I did was like giving feedback to people making their third year pieces. And one of the things that I said to them is like, these styles, each move has like context of its own, right? So when you do a top rock, it has a whole world of it's telling a story just by itself, right? When you do like a Fresno or a walkout or whatever the fuck you might do, all of these dances have like a whole story and a whole context, right? So, and it's the same with Light Feet. Like this is a great example, because I was talking about it with one of the Light Feet guys when they came over from the States. But that like each of these styles have like, that you think you're just learning vocab moves, and they're almost like, this is kind of the shame about a lot of these styles, is that they're just seen as like a list of vocab moves, and people think they have to tick them all off. And you don't. Like anyone learning freestyle, you don't have to learn or do all the vocab moves. You find the ones that work for you for certain reasons. One of those reasons should be the historical context of those moves, right? So like Kieran was saying, there's like a certain moves in Light Feet that are like gang related, and it's like people just think they're like a happy fun move, and it's like, you don't know where you're, like the Crip Walk or something. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't know why you're doing this. Like, I wouldn't do like, there's certain variations of the Crip Walk that I might say that I've put into my footwork in hip hop, but I wouldn't out there do the Crip Walk, like holding up gang signs and doing it exactly how it is, because I know the connotations of it. And it's not like, oh yeah, I don't want to glorify gang culture. Like we all fucking do that, right? But it's that it doesn't fit with my dance persona, and doing that is like almost like if Green Tech does it, you get it, right? if I do it, it doesn't make sense with at all how I dance in my style. Not because of how the move looks, but because of the historical context of that move, right? And people like, there might be like times when you lose a battle or something you don't understand. It's these sort of things that judges look for and understand. It's like that move was just randomly thrown in, or that move, and you might not get that because you're like, oh, I did foundation. So yeah, but you didn't do the right foundations in the right way or whatever, right? There's a bit more sensitivity to it. So when you're doing lock-in, there's like a cultural way that these moves are done, right? Certain things, and the same with light feet or whatever, like certain things are like to start around, certain things are like to keep time, certain things are like to end a phrase, certain things are to put a full stop or like exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. Like they're all for different reasons. So when you just put them into a phrase,
without any of that
there, and without the music to guide, because a lot of these styles were developed and built over years and years and years to a specific type of music. Like popping is weird without a snare. It just is. Like, yes, can you do popping without a hard snare? Yes, sure. It's that hit is made to fucking match beautifully. It's like seeing someone hit really strongly on a crisp snare is like just beautiful to if you like popping, right? So you have to be very creative in order to use. Black, White and Grey did a pretty good job of it. Boy Blue, of like using pretty much like straight up popping, but in a way that was like inventive enough off typical popping music, because they had Mikey J who cared about the music. To in a way that was like, all right, this works. And Kenrick entered a battle like last year. He's around. He teaches people, he trains, he enters battles, he ciphers. Is a bit different. It feels a bit different. Everyone that's at the top of Boy Blue has contributed to the battle scene a lot. If you look at Kofi, if you look at Theo, Bruno, whoever, they've been around these scenes. So when they use straight up popping, already they're trying to be creative and do it in the right way and not just take it so that people go, oh, look, popping. They take it in a way that, like, there's people in that audience of Black, White, Grey, they didn't even know that was popping. They just think it's cool moves, which is a good thing because they're innovating with it. And even if they did do just straight up popping, they've paid enough dues to, I think, not that I'm the person that can say someone is or isn't qualified or whatever. So this is just my opinion, but like they can
claim, like,
in my opinion, they've done enough to be able to use it.
Like they have license to like play with,
cultural license, let's say. In my one person opinion, if everyone disagrees with me, fine. But I don't know that in the scene it's like anyone feels a Zoo Nation contribution. In the party social battle scene, which are more at the core of these styles. Maybe I'm wrong. And this said with all love and just because I care about the scene, that it's like it didn't sit right with me in that way, based on my knowledge of the scene. So it's just like, you know, if you're taking these things, I think there has to be like, and this is not just about one thing, because there's a lot of choreographers. And let's not even talk about that Afro in choreo styles. Let's talk about just the light feet. And I made a joking tweet one time that people loved when I said like your choreo will be just fine without that random light feet step. But it's like, it really will. Like you can just make up moves that are not they're just random, like move your body in a random way. And that can be your choreo. Like there's plenty of creative ways to that. A million people do it and they just make up moves that were never made before. But the reason you're using a pre-existing move is to piggyback on the connotations or the popularity of that move, right? But when you just piggyback on something that has been piggybacked, that's something that has been piggybacked, you're just using a lock-in on the three and, which makes no fucking sense, because that's not, and it's not like, oh, I just happened to create a move that looks like a lock-in. That's fine if, you know, you just do a little jumping jack move and someone says, oh, that looks like a lock-in, and you happen to create something similar. But you're clearly doing a lock-in. You're clearly doing these Afro moves. You're clearly doing an old man or a walkout in your choreo for no reason other than this is something that I want to reference. So, yeah, I just don't like that when you're not contributing back to it in any context, and I'm not just talking about Zoo Nation. So that's one thing. That's one of two main things that I didn't like about the show. The first one is those styles and how they're used, and the me not seeing, in my opinion, sufficient give and take. The second thing is the And there's one point that links the two, which I think is the music. It feels like whoever Sting or Sting's estate or Sting's team wanted this made, and they just said, we'll make it. It doesn't feel like they wanted, like there was...
No, I'm pretty sure it's Kate who wanted to sing his music for this.
Okay, well then it still works, but it's like it feels like it was shoehorned into a Sting thing. It's like, we're going to make a dance piece around Sting, or Sting was like, we want a dance piece made. But it feels like it wasn't like, I see movement to this. It's just the branding was, oh, a Sting dance piece would be cool.
Right. What's going to be their story?
Yeah, what's going to be the story? How can we move to, we'll do some locking on this thing. We'll do some this on this thing. But not like, this is the right music to create a piece on because I see movement when I hear this song or whatever. You know? And I think, so with the idea of the refugees story, I feel like that is a crazy sensitive topic to pick.
Yeah.
Which is not inherently a bad thing.
No.
Because that's the job of an artist, is to, I think it's Nina Simone that said that, the job of an artist is to reflect the times that they live in.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So choosing a topic like that, go for it. However, and I don't critique the choice of topic, but I can critique the way that topic is handled and delivered. The way that this show is done, I don't love the handling of that sensitive topic. There's a lot of really mature themes in that. There is like, I mean, just the idea of being a refugee is like traumatic for a lot of people, and it's very close to home for a lot of people. Like, we live in a very multicultural, like my best friend growing up was a refugee, Pride. So it's like, and I'm not saying that because that's why it hit home. It hit home more for me as an artist rather than, but I know people that would trigger them as like refugees themselves or friends of refugees or whatever. There's also, so there's just that topic itself, the refugee topic. If we get into it, there's people die. There's potential, I don't want to, because, you know, some things are not made 100% clear, but there's potential like sexual harassment themes. There's themes of drugs, potentially allusions to prostitution. Whether you, I don't know whether you want to call it like war or invasion, or I don't know how the war part came about, but there's all these themes in it which are really close to home for people, and
like homosexuality,
as
well,
and like and like especially homosexuality in like certain cultures, which is even more frowned upon than it is in some like traditional like Western cultures, and that's already bad enough. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is a really deep journey to take someone on, and there's certain scenes that, like, if I describe them, like, you would be like, I'm not going to, out of artistic respect for the show, that I don't want to ruin too much, and I still think people should go and see it and make up their own opinions. I encourage you actively to go and see it, because A, you should make up your own opinion, not just listen to me, and B, you can learn a lot from stuff that you don't like.
True.
So I'm glad I went to see it the second time.
Yeah.
But there's some scenes that are like, if I was asked to like consult on that and I saw those in rehearsal, I would be having strong words. Because there's some stuff that like, and for anyone that knows me or is like somewhat close to me, or maybe has met me more than twice, you will know that I'm not easily offended. I kind of roll my eyes at a lot of people being offended by a lot of stuff. And I'm pretty like open to like, it's not that big of a deal. Even on like deep topics, right? This came pretty fucking close to offending me in a lot of places where they were doing stuff. And I was like, you're locking about that. You know, that's the best way I can say it without describing the scene. But it's like, you've set the scene for this topic. You've told me what is happening. And you're now breaking out into a straight up front-facing locking routine to a Sting song. Like, and paired with the choice of music, and people might know if they've gone to see it, but like paired with the choice of music on certain bits of like, this is the topic and that's the Sting song that you're using, because of like the way that one line sounds and it sounds like it relates to that topic, coming from who Sting is, who is in my like knowledge not a fucking refugee.
Yeah.
So you're using his songs to illustrate the story of a refugee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or these other deep topics, which are not maybe not even the song is not about refugee, but there's one line that sounds like it fits that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, yeah, it just came close to offending me that the use of the story because it's so easy to not do that.
Yeah,
it's not even like
I don't think it's easy, because if you choose a topic like that, you're like setting yourself, or not setting yourself up, but it's like you're choosing something that's difficult to tackle, you know, like meaning you're choosing a difficult subject, like,
yeah,
you know, so in a sense it kind of comes with the choice of how you would tackle it and how you want to address it. And it's like, I was actually thinking about this today, and, you know, kind of like, because with that said, I'm with you on all the points.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
100%.
Also,
agree.
shout out to the neighbour's dog for ruining every fucking evening I have.
Yeah.
If you listen to this, neighbour, shut your dog up.
But yeah, so I agree with you on like 100% of the points. But I was also thinking today about who has not who has the right to tell what stories,
sure,
but like, I actually was reading about Top Boy this weekend.
Okay.
And like the person who wrote Top Boy is like a 60-year-old Irish guy.
No way.
Yeah.
Wrote the
original
screenplay or what?
Yeah. Like the original Somerset Summer House,
not
Summer
House. Shout out London Battle. Yeah.
Summer House, like the first 4 episodes,
right,
was like, he did the pilot, he wrote it, and I'm pretty
interesting.
sure he was like commissioned to write the rest as well. But, you know, I was like, okay, does it make a difference, you know, whether it's like to Sting Music or, you know, the company, and what stories we decide to tell and what stories we decide to tell is one thing. But then what are the things that make it like, oh, all right, well, it still did like tackle some real issues in a sensitive and nuanced way.
Well, my opinion is that it depends on the outcome. Like you like, the thing is, like, you can't say whether someone is or isn't qualified to tell a story until you see the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if somebody writes like you know, like a 6-year-old white guy writes about, you know, the ends in London or whatever.
6-year-old.
60-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Like, if we see it and we're like, the people
It's
from
legit,
that area
yeah.
say, you know, I'm not from that area, so I can't say about
Yeah.
Top Boy necessarily, but like, if they say this feels authentic, the acting is done right, it's nuanced, it's not stereotypical, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, then, hey, you succeeded. You know, maybe there's other people that we would have preferred to tell that story, but if you tell it and it's
The best way that
authentic, then cool, you know, like, hopefully those people also get a chance to tell a story. But yeah, I wouldn't fault it. But I think that's the kind of issue where it starts to call into question, like, how many refugees were a part of this creation process.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel, not that it doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't feel authentic, but it feels so on the nose that it's like, with the music choices, with the dancing, with some of the topics, that it's like, and this is another thing I say to the uni students, right? And the third years that have just graduated can vouch for this, because I feel like I said this every feedback session. But it's like, with choreography in general, no, not with choreography, with anything performance-based where you're telling a story, you can't just like show me, like, the topic itself is not enough. You have to say something, you have to comment on the topic.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't just dance and then be like, Black Lives Matter. It's like, okay.
What do you have to say?
Yeah, like, what are you adding to this topic? Because otherwise, you're just riding on a wave to make your thing successful. You're like, let's say, you're like, well, Black Lives Matter is already popping and it's everybody knows about it and blah, blah. So if I make my piece and I just throw Black Lives Matter into the piece somehow, people are going to know about my piece because it's associated, right? But then if we look at it and it's like, but you didn't add anything, so by default you're taking from it. You know what I mean? Like you're using it rather than giving to it. So if you then do a story where, what's a good like racial, like I just watched Remember the Titans recently and fucking cried every 5 minutes for the entire film. But like it's a movie about sports and about segregation, and it's not, so if anyone hasn't seen it, it's with Denzel Washington, one of my favorite films of all time. But it's a story about an American football team. It's based on a true story and a true coach, but that a white and black school were integrated. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
A white and black school were integrated, and therefore their football team had to be integrated. And they gave, because it looked better, they gave the black coach the head coach position. And I don't know if this is how it happened in real life, but in the story, he asks the white head coach, who basically got kicked out of his position, he says, can you stay on and be my assistant coach? And they don't like each other at first. And it's the whole process of these white and black students having to bond, and they originally didn't like each other or whatever, all sorts of politics involved. And then they kind of go on to become such an amazing team, and cue Waterworks. But it's like, okay, if you take the idea of like segregation and racism, if you just show me the horrors of segregation, just a document, and not even a documentary, just footage of people hating each other and for no reason, and it's just, this is horrible thing happened. And then I finish it and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like what? Like I feel horrendous for no reason. Like you've just laid this story out and said these bad things happened, and I say, all right, like okay, like without a call to action. You know, they do it with like even a slight bit better with like some of those adverts where like people are starving in Africa, blah blah blah. But what do they say at the end? Donate £2 a month or something. It's like, all right, we're showing you these horrors in order to evoke your empathy, in order to get money to actually do something about it, right? Or it can be to educate yourselves, or it can be to tell a story. But with the, let's say with the Remember the Titans, it's interesting to see these dynamics play out in a familiar way. So me growing up playing sports my whole life, and knowing that like my I don't know if they say like formative years, but like the years that made me as a person were through sports, right? So even if I'm not like a NBA basketball player or whatever, my whole who I am as a guy is built through team dynamics and understanding, you know, what it's like to be on a team with people, and bond through friendship and through like, I can't let this person down because he's on my team, and that's enough. All of that is very familiar. So when we put it into context of like segregation and stuff, and you start to feel, and this is why it fucking makes me cry every time I watch it. But like when you feel
like you see yourself in
yourself, but you also understand exactly how the fuck that feels, that you're conflicted between, I don't like this person, and I've been taught, everyone in society is telling me to hate this person, black or white or whatever. But because we're on the same team, I'm starting to feel conflicted, and I'm starting to grow to be like, but they are my teammate, and I have to accept that. And that team thing comes above anything else. And it's you know, it's not like the army or whatever, but it's kind of that sort of bond where you're like, when you're in this situation, there's no whatever.
Like you're right or die.
Exactly. So by zooming in on one specific area and certain story, like one specific coach's story, this team's story, you can examine a much wider topic with way more nuance. So to understand, let's say there's two white guys in the Remember the Titans, who one of them is just, he's kind of played to be a bit stupid. But he's almost like not too stupid to understand racism, but he's almost so simple he doesn't care. Like he goes and sits on the black guy's table, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm eating lunch. Why? And they're like, this is a black guy's table. He's like, it's just lunch. Like he just doesn't care because he's kind of stupid. And then there's another guy who's at that time from California, who's like way more progressive and whatever. So he comes and he's very like open, and he's almost like, they kind of question whether he's gay or not, and especially in like, well, it's like the 60s, 70s or whatever. And he's like this long hair Californian surfer boy who's just like, I love everyone, man, don't worry. Like, so it's like you can understand these nuances of like different types of people and the way they approach. There's like a black guy who hates white people. There's like a religious black guy who's like taught to like not like white guys, but God tells him he should accept everyone. So you're understanding nuance through the specificity of the story, right? And with something like these topics, I think you can get away with Fast and the Furious because it's about a dumb topic that no one's going to be offended by.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's probably racers who, I mean, look, even when we talk about Step Up, we kind of get a bit pissy, like, you know, some of these movies are not doing the dance scene justice.
Yeah.
But are any of us really, you know, cut up about it? Not really. It's just annoying that it's like, yo, you're kind of fucking up what
Like,
could be a great opportunity. But is it like, is there anyone really that's like that? Because it's just a broad, fun topic. None of them are really, if it was about specific, if it was like a movie about Memphis Jukin, people would be pissed. But when it's just about, oh, it's a dance school and we're trying to save it, it's like, it's just so generic that we don't, even though you're ruining it, we don't care really. But when you have a really specific, really deep, horrible topic, I think you have to find a good angle and you have to go in for nuance. You have to go in for depth. You have to go in for artistic integrity. And I feel like this show doesn't really do that. Like it makes me sad because it's like, I really want to just like be positive about everything. But to be honest, I could have not talked about the show. People that are listening and watching, I could have not talked about it. But because I know these people, I work in the same industry, but I don't want to be fake. So it would either be I come on here and lie and say it was a good show, or I would say, or that I liked the show. Good is subjective. Or I just don't talk about it, which also seems fake. So it's like, you know, I'd rather be honest with my feelings because that's the whole
and also
reason that this platform was built.
I think it's also like, you know, I mean, we're having these discussions and these thoughts, but it's also not, you know, saying an ultimate, like you said, it's not a good or bad, but it's also asking the questions of how, like, which is what you've just done, but it's like, how do you tackle these difficult topic? Like, how do you use these dance styles that are maybe not like a style that you practice or that's part of your like vocabulary in like kind of a choreographic, I mean, I guess maybe it is part of the choreographic language, but that like maybe goes beyond like that actually has a choreographic language within those different styles if you're going to put it on stage.
I've seen, just to add to the breaking comment, I've seen less straight up breaking at Battle of the Year.
Yeah.
The showcases they don't do straight up breaking like that, which tells you something. These are breaking crews doing breaking showcases. They're not battles, the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's less straight up top rock footwork freeze. It's like creative. It's different ways of using it because they're innovating with the style.
I mean, yeah, I think it's like not like I for sure agree with everything you say. I think also it's like just who is this show for, you know?
Well, that's the other thing that's slightly irritating because I'm looking around and I'm presuming I don't see a bunch of refugees in the audience.
Yeah.
This seems very like, and also if we look at ticket prices, which I get and I'm not knocking because
we know what it costs.
I know what it costs to put on a show and I get it. And if it's at, you know, it's a high level cast, it's in a good theatre, like I get it. However, you know, the two main groups of people who can't come to see that show are people that built locking and breaking and refugees.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, man. It does. And I don't know what necessarily the answer to that is. Like, I just think it's like if you are doing a story about that, there should be some type of outreach attached or some type of cultural give back or something. You know, it's like, like for this much money, time and attention to be given to something with those styles in and with that subject matter, those things should be significantly improved. Either there's three ways: by money, direct contribution to that whoever needs it, outreach contribution, so like actually going and doing work in those communities, whichever they are, or artistic contribution. So they should come and see it and be like, wow, you did something. I didn't love it, but Crystal Pite's piece about the climate change or whatever wasn't my favorite thing I've ever seen. It definitely wasn't terrible. She's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
but it added some artistic integrity to the topic.
Yeah, like I think you
It's another way of seeing the topic. It added a different perspective to it.
yeah.
You know, go and see that for anyone that hasn't, if it's still out or whatever. But like, it wasn't just a piece with the parallel would be if Crystal Pite did a piece about climate change and it's just dancers acting out burning to death and freezing to death and going and then just dying on stage and then going climate change.
Yeah.
Like you need to say something about it, do something about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm fully with you. I remember actually when we went to see it a few years back.
Yeah.
That I was a bit like feeling the same, you know, of just getting out of the theater and seeing like a very middle-aged white audience who could afford like £60 a ticket.
And that's who the breaking and locking, it feels like it's for. That's another thing. And again, we're starting to, for transparency on the review front, like this is starting to get into my subjective, like I'm connecting the dots in my own head. But it feels like the breaking is for those old white people to go, oh, and they use the breakdancing, isn't that fancy? Like, it's not because it was needed for the story or for the artistic creation. It just felt like it was for them to go, oh, he did a little, I've seen that breaking on the TV, innit? That's lovely. You know, and it's like...
Yeah. So I remember seeing that and, you know, like you a bit like seeing the styles. And again, it's an artistic choice and everybody has the right to do whatever they want with their work. But it's like to Sting, who's like a white British artist, and all of these things are used to like as a device to kind of frame the story of like immigration.
Yeah.
Or not even immigration, but like refugees. And it's like I wasn't inside the process to know who contributed and who didn't, but I will say that like there is quite a few of those things that made the show tone deaf for me.
I mean, I'm just looking at articles now about Sting responding to cultural appropriation accusations because he uses
because of
so
the
much
show,
like,
or just in general?
because he uses so much like reggae and
ska,
exactly, music, and a lot of that's what kind of adds to it, where it's like, even I felt like that it highlighted that in Sting's music for me. Like I'm listening, I'm like, and now that you mention it, because of like, and I was like, this is a very like reggae ska type of beat with a guy singing about I'm an illegal alien because I'm an Englishman in New York, bro.
And for me, it's like if you wanted to go like
you got the visa super easy, bro.
Ska and reggae, like it's not like there's a lack of these artists.
Yeah.
Like, but anyways, besides the artistic choice, which is like the companies to make and not in line with my taste, but that's fine. It just kind of like the only way to respond to this, really, you know, because it's like I'm really not on like shitting on people's work.
No,
everybody, like, you know, I'm sure that there's so much time and effort and resources and people's like genuinely good intention.
Like I said, I know I know how hard the dancers have worked to be in that show.
And it's like the genuinely good intention of the creative team and everybody involved. So it's like, for me, you know, like they made the choices that they made, and whether I or not I agree with it almost is like not important, but like, okay, you do you. The only thing that we can do is like when we do work and when we do things is to do it with like all of these things that we spoke about, you know. And it's like, you're not gonna get it perfect every time. We all make mistakes. We all make like choices that we look back and are like, maybe shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Maybe shouldn't have said that. But
some of the episodes of this podcast will be such.
But at the end of the day, you know, I think it should just be fuel for everybody who feels that way to then tackle their work with more integrity, more sensitivity, more of whatever you feel other work out there is lacking. Like, you know,
I mean, this is my whole thing. And if this was not a podcast where we review and talk about stuff, I wouldn't have said anything. Like I wouldn't, if this platform didn't exist and I hadn't built this for this reason, I wouldn't have like made an Insta story or shitted on this or anything like that. The only reason I'm talking about it in this much depth and with this much criticism is because that's what we do here. This whole, and having said that, this entire, everything I do pretty much, but definitely the whole Capsule platform is built on there's stuff today that contributed to this, but like when there's something I don't like about the scene or the world, I don't try and shit on that thing.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's outright wrong or just something I don't like or disagree with. I don't waste energy trying to fight that thing.
Yeah.
I go and contribute equally
To the other
in a
side.
positive way.
Yeah.
So if there's an event, and this has happened many a time, that I thought was shit for whatever reasons, I'm like, you know what? I'll say what I need to say, or I'll tell the person, hey, this happened or whatever. But I'm not going to go in on them and start shitting on them and bad-mouthing them. I'm just going to go, right, that out of 10, that got me to an 8 of this was shit. I'm going to go put an 8 out of 10 event on myself to balance the world, you know? And I think that's like what you're saying is like, I don't want to take away from anything they're doing. I just want us to put good things in the world. And that's also why this pod was supposed to be an hour long. Is way more than an hour long. But the only reason is because I don't want to talk negatively about someone's work without explaining myself in full.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm always open to more conversations if people want to sit down and talk to me about this or come on the podcast, which I would love to debate any or respond to any of this. You are always welcome. But I don't want to just shit on people for the sake of it. However, I do think when it's done correctly, the purpose of a reviewer or a critic is important, positive or negative.
Yeah, and even just to ask questions and to like reflect on things. It's not like a review that's like 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, whatever.
Exactly. That's why it's like if this was a one paragraph,
it's more an analysis than a review.
Yeah, if this was a 1-star,
kind of
like one paragraph review in the newspaper, I think that's a bit shitty. But I'm like, listen, I've given this show an hour of my time to explain.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just doing it just to, you can hopefully tell by the end of this that I'm not doing this just to shit on something for the sake of it. Like I said, dances are fantastic. There's some beautiful pieces of choreography in there. There's some lovely moments. I do think a lot of what Zoo Nation does is great. I think like obviously the work with the youth company is fucking fantastic. I think they've put on a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of amazing dancers that have come from there. Mm-hmm. I think the stuff that they do with like finding a way for hip hop and street dance stuff to be, that's even a way to do this is like when it's digestible for kids and they do like Into the Hoods or like hip hop culture isn't very accessible to kids. Like there's a lot of places, there's a lot of battles that you can't come to when you're young, but a theater is a family friendly venue. And the way that they're doing it is through familiar storytelling. And that might get a kid interested. That's a very smart way to do a very sensitive topic justice. You're doing it in a way that's introducing people to the culture through the most familiar terms possible. Yeah. Like we can go back and talk about the giving back and taking and all that. But in terms of doing it justice, I'm more on board with that type of thing. Yeah, right. With the like more family. Yeah, because it's like there's a very specific reason you're doing that is to bring kids into this. Oh, you can see it that way at least. There's one very specific benefit, which is you're bringing kids into the hip hop culture and getting them to understand something that they might not see otherwise. Yeah. So fair play. But yeah. Anyway, so all that to say. Not your favorite work of Zoo Nation. Yeah, I think Joe Budden was right about Drake's album, to be honest. What did he say? He said that, you know what, this is hilarious. For anyone that's a pop culture fan, this is your segment. Basically, it's hilarious because Joe Budden is like talk shit about everyone. Like they on that pod, they love Drake. Like they'll criticize him and be very honest, but like they ride for him. So every time they're like, he's the best. Like they went through one of his tracks, like the whole pod pretty much, like half the pod was like them going through each lyric bar by bar. Oh, that's why this is sick. That's why why is he the best? Why is no one, like every pod, he doesn't respond to anything. And this time he said. But what did Joe Budden say? Yeah, he said that like he's not maturing. Like he's making music with like young artists about young artist stuff. Like making songs that are going to go viral or going to be poppy and catchy, but it's like he's like 36 now And it's like you got to start like making like someone was saying, I don't know if this was on the pod, but someone was saying like he could be making music about being a dad, you know, like what's that journey like? How has that been difficult? Like, but instead he's talking about like, I don't know, going to a strip club or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And Joe Budden was kind of saying like, you got to grow up and mature and like talk about, like obviously he said it in the most Joe Budden way possible, but yeah, like grow up and mature. We're like, we don't want to hear you rapping with these young kids anymore. Like kind of grow up a bit. And then Drake like let loose on him and said, you have failed at music. And I mean, Kate might reply to this and be like, you have failed at choreographing. I would respect it if she just went in on me. But
come on, Kate, let it rip.
Yeah, imagine she's just like, Luke Landis has failed at choreographing. No, Drake ripped him. But I think it's also, which it's very badly timed on Drake's part, but it's like he's just pent up all the times that Joe said something negative about him and just been an asshole, and then just this was the time because he's never responded, so this was the time for all of those times. But this take is actually fairly reasonable and not negative about the album. He's saying he's the best rapper in the world, just we'd like a bit more mature content, and it's like it's not a bad take, but you like.
But I didn't even see what Joe Budden initially wrote. I just saw like Drake's reply, and I was like,
no, that wasn't on. Like Joe didn't write anything. Like that.
Oh, right, that was on the podcast.
Posted a clip of the pod.
Right.
Drake replied on that saying that.
Right. And but I only read the reply. Like I didn't hear what he.
Yeah. What he said. Yeah.
But I was just like,
yeah, hilarious. Anyway,
what was supposed to be a 1 hour pod?
This was, but got to do these things justice.
Sometimes you got to talk about the hot topics,
ups and downs. Yeah, all said with the most love possible to everyone I know from the Zoo Nation fam and in the show. Shout out to like Dylan, Ajani, and even the people I don't know. I don't know Lucas, but fuck me, that duet was good. Like they're so nice to watch. Like if the whole show was that, I'd be like great, you know. And there's times when they do like the contemporary type of movement and stuff. Lovely. Yeah. If I take away all the topic, if it was just a contemporary show with those dancers, love it. Yeah. That's what I'd do. Here's what I would do to fix this show. Take out the pop-in, take out the break-in, take out the house. Just make it a contemporary show and
call it a day.
And less on the nose way of building the topic.
Yeah.
It's very on the nose.
It's like, so less breaking, less locking, less.
I mean, yeah.
Might have to bleep that.
Yeah, spoiler alert. But yeah, anyway, guys, I still recommend to go see it. Make up your own opinions. If you disagree with me, please write it in the comments. Please try not to discuss these things with me while I'm filming at a different event that I've been hired to film at. As much as I'd love to debate these things, I cannot do it while I'm at work. Last thing I will say is that a few people have come up to me recently, more and more, telling me that they watch the pod and listen to the pod. So thank you, everyone. And it's people that I don't know. So that is lovely. Someone said that
tell him, because then he comes home and he tells me about it and he's so happy.
No, I'm just like, I don't even care. People know me and it's nothing. Yeah, I get really excited. But yeah, people are like, random people say, I listen to your podcast, which I think is super dope. I've said this before, but don't feel a pressure ever to listen to all of the episodes or tell me that you've listened to all of the episodes. You can just listen to the ones that suit you. Like I know Ariane said that like if there's a topic that comes up like that she looks into, then she'll watch that one. And I'm like, that's the way to do it. It's like if there's a guest that you like or a topic that you see, you know, on the time codes or whatever, for sure watch it. If you're a, you know, loyal listener and you stick around every week because you love us, then I also appreciate you loads. But yeah, don't feel any pressure. And yeah, we have a lot of stuff that I can't talk about yet that's coming up. So if ever you were going to jump on the Capsule bandwagon,
do it now.
Do it now, because it's about to get good, baby.
Because it's about to take off.
Yeah, not going to lie. It might be about to take off.
Not going to lie. We love you.
We love you. Also, we're trying to get to 10K on Instagram so that I can turn on subscribers. So tell a friend to subscribe to the Capsule, please.
Come on, tell your mom.
YouTube is on 4K, so shout out to you guys.
Yeah. But come on, if everybody, because you have what now, like 6,000?
Almost 7,000.
Okay, if you all tell your mom and your dad, who like, you know.
Hey, some of us don't have a dad.
Oh, I mean, me either.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell your parents, your little brother, little sister, a friend. If everybody gets one person to follow.
I know all of you have like a burner Instagram where you stalk your ex or something.
Yeah.
Just follow the capsule on that.
Oh, yeah. What's yours?
I don't have one.
Mine is Jenny Unchained. It's private.
That's what you used to
Go
stalk your
follow
ex?
it. No, I don't even have an ex. Well, kind of, not really. Don't know. I'm not sure.
It was complicated?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's time to we can wrap it up on that note.
All right. Shout out Alex Dunn. So, guys, thanks for listening to the pod. And we love you. And I appreciate you. And if you have thoughts on message, please let us know. If you have thoughts on anything we spoke about, please let us know. If you love me, let me know.
If you love me, let me know. Jenny Unchained. D is silent.
See you later, guys.